Hi everyone, welcome to Leisrealtalk. Happy Saturday, happy Sunday. Welcome to Lay's Saturday Night Live. Okay, how's everyone doing? So far, your weekend is so far so good? Yes? Okay, good, excellent. All right, so major changes are unfolding in China, centered on power shifts within Zhongnanhai, the leadership compound. Tensions are so high this week in Beijing that residents have remarked on the capital city's oppressive or chilling political atmosphere. And in an effort to dispel rumors and project unity, Xi Jinping made a public appearance alongside the other four members of the Central Military Commission. However, if you really take a close look at the event as presented by CCTV, it suggests that Xi Jinping might just appear to be the chairman of the CMC. He may be acting like a chairman of the CMC, and plays the role of a figurehead. So let's now talk about why, excuse me, why we think he's only acting. So first thing I will talk about is the unique political atmosphere in Beijing this week, why it particularly felt tense. And then I'll talk about Xi Jinping has quite literally stepped down and what I meant by stepping down. And then next I will talk about the accidental disclosure of the next Chinese leader by a Singaporean politician. Last but not least, I think the CCP's Great Wall of Censorship has appeared to be cracking. Okay, so first things first, let's talk about this strange week that's behind us or almost behind us. So last week, residents of Beijing have noticed an unusually strict and oppressive atmosphere with increased security and a pervasive sense of unease. So let me share with you a online post. Here we go. If you read Chinese, it basically said that it was posted by someone who lived, I think, close to the center of Beijing. And this person said, it was on December 5th, 2 days ago, Beijing was under tight security, and local people said black-clad individuals are seen everywhere in downtown Beijing, directing passers-by not to stop or take pictures. People are told to go straight home, and local residents described the chilling atmosphere as more terrifying than the 1989 Tiananmen Square pro-democracy movement, which ended in a bloodshed. The area around the General Political Department compound, which is a PLA's General Political Department compound, which is where headed by Miao Hua, and the Gulou Bridge has the highest concentration of black-clad individuals. Okay, the General Political Department of the PLA. I actually have a map of Beijing. I want to show you. So if you look at this map, the red marker is where the Gulou Bridge, and and I circled the Forbidden City in a red square, and then Zhongnanhai in the bubble. So it's very close. It's only about 2 miles away from Zhongnanhai. So people are prohibited from asking questions, stopping or even looking around. And there seem to be more people dressed in black, walking around in that area. They outnumbered pedestrians. And people, the Gulou Street has been barricaded with iron railings. Residents returning home are required to pass through a small bomb-resistant barrier opening where people were let through in limited numbers. So it was a tiny opening, and only a small number of people were let through. So people wonder what was really going on. Many sensed a political storm is approaching and big changes are unfolding in China. And they say that this winter is going to be an eventful one. So that's my introduction. We don't know what has really happened in Beijing, but people are saying it's extremely tense. Now, with the removal of Xi Jinping thought, let me come back. With the removal of Xi Jinping thought from official statements and the deplatforming of the Xi Jinping Thought Study app in the early fall, many speculate that Xi Jinping's grip on the Red regime is loosening. Since October, a series of personnel changes within the Chinese military indicated that Xi Jinping may have lost control over the military. Many China observers believe that Xi has been politically sidelined because the signs are very obvious. However, others argue that it's that Xi Jinping still remains the most powerful political figure in China, and removing him is impossible. So I have covered both views in my past programs. Now, I think, based on the latest development in the past week, I think Xi Jinping may only appear to be a leader and is acting like one for the time being, before the party figures out a succession plan. And during this transition time, CCP's central leadership needs to send out a unified front to the outside world so the regime doesn't fall apart. But internal power struggles continue or has continued, and we are seeing conflicting messages. So that's my conclusion, and here I'm going to back it up for you. So a few days ago, I'm going to give you a number of reasons why I say he's only the best acting chairman, as my thumbnail suggests. So a few days ago, state media outlets all covered the news of Xi Jinping inspecting the Information Support Force on December the 3rd. So it was the convening of the first party members' conference of the newly created Information Support Force. The Information Support Force were established as part of the dissolution of the Strategic Support Force. Remember, during the military reforms, Xi Jinping established the Strategic Support Force. It was so corrupt to the point that he himself dismantled it, disbanded the service, and established a new unit called Information Support Force. As a unit closely associated with Xi Jinping's leadership, it makes sense that he would take an interest in the forces, in the military branch's first party member conference for its party members. And that's when he went. He is the party leader, right? However, his visit to the Information Support Force headquarters appeared to have been carefully staged for optics rather than substance. Let me play you the video. I just took out the audio and play you this is the first 1.5 minute of a 5-minute news piece by CCTV. I just want to play. This is the headquarters of the Information Support Force, and it shows the outside of the building. And this van actually carries Xi Jinping and I think probably his, other members of the CMC. He arrived in this van, and then there they are. Take a look at how serious he looked. He did not smile. He did not smile at all. And here look at Zhang Youxia. All right. Zhang Youxia looked like he was a little hesitant walking behind him. Xi Jinping did not smile at all. Okay. All right. There we go. Yeah, okay. All right, so let me keep talking. I could let this play on the screen. Yeah, I'm only Chris, can you copy the link of this video in the description, so if people want to watch the entire 5.5 minutes, they can with the Chinese narration. I only want to play the first part, which is 1.5 minutes. I think that's it. Is that it? That's almost at the end. Okay. All right, let me finish playing this. There it is. Okay. Let's dive in because this is very interesting. So Xi Jinping's inspection was conducted at the headquarters of the Information Support Force, located in the Haidian district, Beijing, which is not far from Zhongnanhai. It is speculated that this was chosen for its proximity, making it convenient for staging a performance by the top leaders. The Information Support Force reportedly has a base in Faltering district, Beijing, but it's a little bit further. Now, the context for this visit is significant. The recent removal of Miao Hua, a member of CMC, has highlighted internal turmoil within the military. This has created widespread fear among officers linked to Miao. These events have contributed to growing instability and speculation about Xi Jinping's grip over the military. So the visit was designed to project an image of stability and strength, serving as a public relation exercise to counter the narratives that Xi Jinping has lost power. First of all, to show solidarity, Xi Jinping appeared with the other 4 members of CMC, which you've seen in the video. However, none of them looked very happy. So here I'd like to share with you pictures of them. So there you see, I mean, this was taken from the video. You see, Xi Jinping did not smile at all. And these are the 2 pictures released by Xinhua, this picture and this picture. These 2 pictures were released by Xinhua. And then this was taken from the video where the 5 members of the CMC were sitting, were seen. I mean, we haven't seen them together for a long time, remember? Ever since, the contentious relationship between Zhang Youxia and Xi Jinping surfaced. So it's been a while since we've seen the group together, but take a look at their facial expression. Xi Jinping looked so tired and down, and Zhang Youxia looked indifferent. And I think the other 3 looked a little bit awkward in this picture, but none of them was smiling or smiled at all in that video, if you watch it. And secondly, the news piece reviewed a highly symbolic scene. I want you to take a look. Take a close look at this picture. All right, maybe I can come back here. Take a look at this picture. It's very odd. Well, this photo was taken from the 5-minute news by CCTV. And it has been interpreted by many political observers or China watchers as evidence disproving the notion that Xi Jinping has lost control over the military. The reasoning is that the image shows Xi sitting alone in the center with all the other senior officers or members of CMC seated separately on either side, ostensibly projecting Xi's sole dominance in this group or in this setting. I want to tell you that this interpretation is only half correct. I think the truth is far from that simple. Does this picture look normal to you? It doesn't look normal to me because something is wrong. Xi Jinping never appeared in a PLA or political event in a setting like this. At least I have not seen it. In fact, this picture demonstrates why Xi Jinping is in big trouble. And to put it more starkly, this news by CCTV seems to convey a message in a very subtle way to suggest that Xi Jinping has stepped down. As you can see on the screen, Xi Jinping sits alone in the center, which clearly appears to emphasize his singular position of power. Now let's go to the next page. the next page, this is also from the news report, from another angle. So Xi Jinping is sitting facing the stage. He actually sits facing the stage. And if you look closely, there was actually a podium. There is a platform or a riser covered by a red carpet, right? Right in front of the screens. It's clearly a stage or speaker's podium. And there are a number of large screens, behind the podium. And, for you to see, we've highlighted them in red circles. Now, the setup is abnormal. Why wasn't Xi Jinping seated on the stage or podium? In the past, when Xi Jinping chaired military meetings, he either sits, for example, they're always on the stage. And even when he sits alone, here you have another setting where he is by himself. But you see, there's a banner behind him. There's some kind of a banner or some setup behind him, indicating that he's actually sitting on the podium or with the stage behind him, right? He's never looking at the stage. So he was sitting against the wall. He was sitting on the podium against the wall with a display screen or a banner above him showing the meeting's name or slogan, right? And this time he was not seated on the main podium. Instead, he was seated opposite the podium. The reason why they always put the CCP leaders sitting on the podium is they want to ensure proper lighting, because the stage usually has a lighting setup. And it's a standard setup by the Central Propaganda Department for photographing the leaders. The goal is to present the leaders as authoritative, glorious, whatever however you name it. They want to make them look good. So this time he did not. And so the question, he sat, where was the picture? Yeah, this is where he sat. So that seems odd. Hold on, he's off the stage. He sat off the stage. Now, in Chinese, off the stage means losing power or stepping down. In Chinese, it is 下台. The two words 下台, it's like Xi Jinping 下台了, has tremendous meaning. So this picture literally means that Xi Jinping is off the stage or has stepped down, if you speak that in Chinese. So for this picture, the seating arrangement suggests a deliberate downgrade of Xi Jinping's status, while the CCP-controlled media portrayed this as a sign of Xi Jinping's continued authority, sitting alone in the center, right? So while it sends that image, while it intends to send that signal, it also sends a subtle but significant signal of Xi Jinping's diminished respect or influence. Now, seating arrangement is a big deal with CCP officials. For those who are familiar, with CCP politics, if Xi Jinping is still the top leader, if he's the sole top leader, it would be unthinkable for a newly created PLA unit to insult their commander by arranging an off-the-stage seating like that. It's unthinkable. So you might say, well, could it be because Xi Jinping needs to watch a video and wanted to sit across from the screen and not with his back to the screen? That's exactly what came to my mind. I had the same question too. I said, well, maybe he just wanted to watch a video with his team because it's more convenient, right? Because you just look at the screen. Now, I asked one of my contacts who's an expert in Chinese politics, And I was told that was not the case. I think my thinking was very Western, was very American. We would think that's what, maybe some leaders want to do that. And it was explained to me that in CCP-controlled China, leaders would never be seated with the rest of his team for convenience while ignoring protocol, indicating his status and prestige, or ignoring protocol that supports his status or prestige. If video presentations are involved at the meeting, the host would still seat Xi Jinping on the stage and bring him a small monitor for him to see, while the rest of the people look at the big screens. That's one possibility. And another solution is, after his speech, they would invite him to come off the stage and to sit where he is now to watch the video with the other officers. So they would never just seat him there for convenience, because they don't do this for convenience. Also, I was told that this wasn't a technical conference. This wasn't a work conference where they're trying to do presentation, making decisions, or review materials. This was a party building conference. So the chances that Xi Jinping actually needs visual aids in his speech is non-existent. I mean, the screen is probably set up for other speakers if they ever need it. Maybe none of them would need a screen. So they're saying that it's impossible. It's impossible that they would seat him off the stage like that, and it's just not. It's not compliant with CCP protocol. So what does this imply? Well, it can only mean one thing. That is, Xi Jinping's seat was carefully arranged ahead of time, and he doesn't have much control over that. To the public, the authorities want everyone to believe that he still remains the supreme leader. However, they know he has lost power and can be given the same prestige as before. So Xi Jinping has been relegated to sitting below the podium on an equal footing with everyone else in the military. He no longer receives the symbolic treatment of a supreme leader, nor does he enjoy the, propaganda, the status, nor does he enjoy the, propaganda, the status to enshrine him as the top leader. He no longer enjoys that special treatment. Other than his seating arrangement, his nameplate also looks very strange. Okay, so sorry. So take a look at his nameplate. This is a straight cut from the video. You barely can read his name. It's so faded out and not legible, right? However, if you watch the nameplate, if you take a look at the nameplate of another officer, I mean, the people who sat in the front row had their nameplates, but the ones in the back didn't. But this officer's nameplate is clearly legible. So what has happened? The text, in the highly symbolic context of CCP political events, a leader's nameplate is usually prominently displayed to reinforce their authority. I don't think Xi Jinping's nameplates were so illegible at the event. I think it was the CCTV that did post-production edits to intentionally fade out his name on the screen. Otherwise, it's unexplained, because this came straight from the video, the CCTV news piece. So I think the decision to present Xi Jinping's nameplate in a faded manner may be a deliberate act to visually diminish his prominence or authority. This suggests a subtle but intentional signal of his weakened position, within the CCP hierarchy. Or else it's hard to explain. How do you explain his nameplate being so faded out and washed out when his subordinates, have their name, prominently displayed on the plate? So that's what I mean when I say Xi Jinping has literally stepped down at this PLA event at the very least. The third reason when I say he has been sidelined is accidentally revealed by Li Xianlong, who is the eldest son of Singapore's founding Prime Minister Lee Kuan Yew, or Lee Kuan Yew. In English, I think it's Lee Kuan Yew. The junior Lee was the third Prime Minister of Singapore. He recently visited China. It was his first visit to China since stepping down as the Prime Minister. Let me show you the picture. Here we go. This image has caused a wide scale of speculation, a wide speculation across, in Singapore, in Asia, and also I think in the United States. According to a video, this came from a video published by Singapore's 联合早报, a newspaper, on November 30th, during the final day of his visit to China on November 29th. Lee gave a group interview with Singaporean media in Shanghai, and he said, by visiting China in this way, I can experience the situation on the ground, reconnect with people I've known before, and also hope to establish new connections with China's next generation of leaders. While he said connecting with China's next generation of leaders, the TV visuals showed footage of Li shaking hands with the party secretary of Shanghai, the 60-year-old Chen Jining, a member of the Politburo. As you can see, that's exactly what the visual is, as he made the statement. So people wondered if whether Li Xianlong may have been informed in advance of the CCP's leadership succession plans. The former Singaporean PM was hinting that Chen Jining may be the next Chinese leader, succeeding Xi, or at least one of the candidates being considered for the job. It sparked curiosity in Singapore and other parts of Asia. But this topic is too sensitive and hasn't appeared on mainland Chinese platforms. So who is Chen Jining? Well, he was born in, he's from Liaoning province. It's Chen Jining. And he's 60 years old. He began his career as a scholar and an environmental engineer. He holds a PhD in environmental systems analysis from the Department of Civil Engineering at Imperial College, London. So if he becomes the next CCP leader, he will be, I think, the first CCP leader ever to hold a degree, and actually a PhD from a Western education institute. So yeah, he has a PhD from the Department of Civil Engineering at Imperial College, London. He was the president of Tsinghua University. He was actually one of the youngest president of Tsinghua, one of China's most prestigious universities. Tsinghua was actually established by Americans. So before becoming the party secretary of Shanghai, he served as Minister of Environmental Protection and also mayor of Beijing. Now, party leaders of Shanghai and Beijing are always top contenders for the position of party secretary, for the position of top leadership, for the top leadership positions in the party. Both Jiang Zemin and Xi Jinping were party secretary of Shanghai before they became the CCP leader. Now, I've talked about the other two individuals whose recent activities indicated that they may be either interested in the job or is being considered. I have talked about them in the past. Hu Chunhua, who is Hu Jintao's appointed successor for Xi Jinping, was active a few months ago, or maybe a month ago, showing people are saying that he's interested in Xi Jinping's job. And another person who I talked about, Wang Huning, aka the most dangerous man in the world, has suddenly been active. Additionally, Ding Xuexiang, currently the first vice premier of the State Council and the youngest member of CCP's Politburo Standing Committee, has long been regarded as a leading candidate for Xi Jinping's successor, given his age. Because he's the youngest Politburo Standing Committee member. So these three are possible successor or candidates for to succeed Xi Jinping, and the doctor from the Imperial College of London, the UK educated Dr. Chen, currently the party secretary of Shanghai. So these four are the ones that have surfaced. Their names have surfaced in the power struggles for the next to be the next leader. I'm sure there are more. Anyways, let's move on. So now let's talk about the something that has happened with the great censor of the CCP. The typically tight control of information in China has shown cracks as rumors of Xi's diminished authority and potential stepping down continue to spread both in China, inside and outside China. A user by the name of called Lovely Anti-CCP, or 可爱反共, reported that China's Great Firewall seems to be faltering as some blocked websites are accessible in mainland China, including some Falun Gong websites, including a website for quitting CCP. Now, Falun Gong is the CCP's #1 enemy. All Falun Gong websites are banned in China. Emails containing Falun Gong or Falun Gong words are filtered out. They will not reach China. So the fact that Falun Gong can be accessible in China, or Falun Gong websites can be accessible in China, is a major breakthrough. Others also commented that the Epoch Times and its sister media, Yutang Dynasty Television, are also occasionally accessible in China now. People have told me that news reports produced by the Epoch Times and NTD can be seen on Chinese social media, even WeChat. Again, these two in-language media outlets are established by Falun Gong practitioners and are based in New York. And all of these changes, if these media outlets are accessible in China, all these changes indicate that the algorithm applied to CCP's infamous firewall has had changes. Of course, the CCP is still banning many websites and persecuting dissidents and censoring speeches. But I can't help but think, are we seeing the light at the end of the tunnel? This is very interesting. Let me go to the next page. I saw this. I thought this was fascinating. The Xi Jinping thought, was deplatformed. I mean, the app called Study Xi Jinping Thought was deplatformed. But on Chinese social media platform known as the Little Red Book, or Xiaohongshu, or XHS, or some people called it Red Notes, or the Red, which is a combination of an e-commerce platform and social media. People found that searching for Xi Jinping's new thought, self-study, generated no results. So as you could see, it found nothing on the platform. If you put in Xi Jinping's new thought, space self-study. But searching for Winnie the Pooh new thought, self-study, generated many entries. And they are mostly things related to Winnie the Pooh or self-study. So in the past, anything related to Winnie the Pooh, or anything that closely ties Xi Jinping to Winnie the Pooh is absolutely censored. So it's hard to believe Winnie the Pooh's new thought, self-study, actually is searchable, is actually a keyword that's searchable in China, whereas Xi Jinping's new thought is not. So with that, I thought this is fascinating. This is a new development. So with that, I wanted to say that Xi Jinping is only acting like a chairman of the CMC, Central Military Commission, acting as the Secretary General of the party, and acting as the President of China. The entire CCP establishment wants him to show up as the top leader, when in fact, he has lost power. And during this transition period, things appear chaotic and random. But these random and chaotic developments still offer us insight into the power dynamics in CCP's central leadership. So with that, I call him the best acting chairman. The best acting chairman, the best acting party secretary, and the best acting president. So that's all. That's all I have for you. Let's see if it made sense to you. Okay. Sir Humphrey. Hi, Lei. Hi, everyone. Looking forward to sitting back and enjoy a Sunday live stream and questions. Oh, thank you, sir. Thank you so much for the support. All right, let's see. Whoa. Somebody tried to, okay, anyways. Lei, any news from Mrs. Xi? Not really, but there were talks that she actually was the one who protected the defense minister who's in trouble. Remember, the defense minister Dong Jun was in trouble, but she was the one who vouched for him and got him out of trouble because they're both from Shandong, and she's from Shandong, and she used to vet officers within the. She's a major general. Yeah, she's a major general from the performing arts troupe within the PLA. So she has been playing the role of vetting officers for Xi Jinping. And apparently she is close with the defense minister and vouched for him. That's what people are saying. And that's why he reappeared. Remember, he appeared in Shanghai, meeting with some military officers from, I think, West Africa, from small countries in Africa. And but people saying those appearances only serve the purpose of discrediting, Financial Times claim that he is in trouble. But it was a very insignificant event. And the other thing interesting is Dong Jun's appearance was only reported by his ministry. It was only reported by the Ministry of Defense. Major state media, major propaganda machine did not give him publicity, and there's a big difference. So his ministry posted that information, for its minister. So that doesn't mean that he has landed safely for now. All right. Okay. Voices on Espanol. Is Chinese state media covering the unrest in Syria? Russia is on the ropes. Assad is on the run. Um, I don't know. I think if it does or if it did, it would not. It will probably be a very brief story. I think it will be very awkward. It will be very awkward for China to report on that because Assad went to. Remember, he didn't feel safe traveling to China. Uh, so Xi Jinping sent a chartered plane, a Chinese chartered plane, to pick him up and flew him to Hangzhou and opened the the famous Lingyin temple for him, because the famous Lingyin temple never opened its front door. In recent history, it only opened twice. The last time was for Deng Xiaoping, and the recent time was for Assad. And I think it only maybe in Tang Dynasty it opened for one of its emperors. It's just a temple that does not open its front door. Everyone goes through the side doors. And so Xi Jinping opened the front door for Lingyin Temple, and people say that didn't give him good luck. No good luck at all. Norbert Klotz. All you pointed out is so much work and needs so much organization and coordination, and many people know about it. Why does nobody speak up and kept a secret? All you point out is so much work and needs so much organization, and many people know about it. Why does nobody speak up and kept? You mean nobody speak up in the Western world? What I have told you is known in the Chinese-speaking world outside China. It's like in the dissident community, in the group of Chinese dissidents or where they share information. This is not news. They discuss this, and these are the people most sensitive to these subtle development in Zhongnanhai. So why nobody speak up? Well, Western media, I don't think they will pick up the nuances. I don't think they will understand this type of. I mean, even if you look at the picture, how many people will believe that actually it spells trouble for Xi Jinping? Most people will agree with the intended narrative that Xi Jinping is still the sole leader of the PLA. But if you really look closely and think about, CCP logic, it doesn't make sense. He cannot be seated off stage. He has never been seated off stage. So why would they seat him off the stage? So yeah, I think I think that's why you need people like myself to analyze and bring you the insights on the CCP affairs. An iconic hair move. Really? My hair moved? Okay, good. Alan Mandel, thank you always for such timely, informative, and important analysis. Thank you. Okay, let's see. Moonwalker, if a new CCP leader comes to power and tells the Chinese to publicly hate Xi and destroy all his shrines, will they blindly follow and now worship the new CCP leader? Are pinks that simple? Some pinks are very simple. They've been brainwashed. But I think the pinks will be turned. The pinks are also living a miserable life because many of them are young people, and they're suffering the economic drought, the downfall. They can't find a job. Some of them might have relied on their parents for financial aid, and if their parents are not doing well, so I think most people are feeling the financial pain. So when people can't, I mean, how many people will still speak highly of the CCP when they can't even make ends meet, right? So I think the financial reality will shatter all the narratives of CCP. In the US, this would be a conspiracy theory and not believed from Norbert Claus. In China, this seems to be more than that. Well, in the US, you have more channel to obtain information, supposedly. I mean, and politics are not as covered up as the CCP. The CCP politics is entirely cover up. I think one day when Xi Jinping steps down, we won't even know. You know, he would be still receiving, you know, delegates from other parts of the world one day, and the next day he'll be gone. And then the rest of the world still doesn't know what has happened. If you follow Chinese politics the same way you follow Western politics, that would happen. You still don't understand. And that's exactly the reason why the world still hasn't figured out China's real GDP, even though nobody believes, you know, the official number is true. Because if we follow the same methodology trying to understand, if we apply the same methodology to Chinese politics, Chinese economy, then we would fail. That's precisely that's how the CCP has engineered it, because they know the Western approach. They know how we would approach it. So they set up. They have everything. They have regulatory agencies for the financial markets. They have a central bank. They have. I mean, they have the entire institutional establishment, right? They establish institutions to run like a normal country, but we know those are all manipulated and controlled. So somebody made the analogy that China is like a huge Hollywood film factory. It's a huge, gigantic studio prop. Everything is propped up. It's not real. There's somebody who's trying to post Chinese. I don't know what you try to do, because nobody's really looking at your post. I'm not looking at your post because this is an English community and we communicate exchanging English. So the fact that you post so much Chinese here, you know, waste your own time, because we're not really looking at it. All right. Godot. Any success in the plan for stimulating internal consumption demand? Any success in the plan for stimulating internal consumption demand? No, because of the collapse of the population. China doesn't have the 1.4 billion people as it claimed. It has probably half of that, or 60% of that. And also, when people have to save for, when the government doesn't take care, when there's no health care plan, when parents have to pay their children's education, when elderly have to save for their medical expenses, then nobody is willing to spend the extra money they have. Everybody is interested in saving to handle those situations. So it's a problem brought on by the system. People don't want to spend the money, and they don't have the money to spend. It's not like people have money and they're just not spending it. They cannot afford to spend it. So. All right, Mark Pollard. Is it possible that the fading on the nameplate could be caused by light, camera glare, or something else? It's if CCTV made that mistake. I don't think so, because I watched. If you Google Xi Jinping's videos, his name is always, I mean, it could, if it's lighting, it could be a little pale, but those are paper nameplate, because they're handwritten with ink. How could they have reflection? They're not like metal. I mean, it's just, and also if that is the case, CCTV would make a big mistake. You know, their producer of that news segment would be reprimanded. He or she is in big trouble if that's because it's his name is barely readable. I mean, it's almost all washed out. I don't believe it's a glare, because you could tell if it's a glare. Yeah. I don't think so, but I mean, you guys can offer your opinion. The good, bad, and corrupt. Hi, Lei, I have one question. I've been wanting to visit the Great Wall of China, but I'm concerned that being detained for no reason and privacy of one's information, what would you do? Wait, do not go this winter. It's good. I think it's going to be an event for winter and spring. I think wait, give it a year. If you can wait, I would wait a year. Maybe we'll all go back to China. I look forward to the day when Lei will do her live stream from China. How's that? I really think that day is coming. I really do. So it's not that far out. If you can wait, I will wait a little bit. Joseph Tan, talk about the COVID lawsuit, CCP, 18 trillion facing for damages. That will bring down the CCP. Without a doubt, that will bring down the CCP. Yeah. We'll see what happens. Nick Fury, heard GM Auto incurring loss and at a crossroad to cut loss and pull out of China. Yes. Yep. I think the European automakers are also losing money, like Volkswagen and Mercedes in China are also losing money. But I don't understand why they're still, at least last year, they were still talking about investing into China. I mean, I think the biggest lie is the Chinese consumer market is not as big as the CCP claims. Number one, it does not have 1.4 billion people. Number two, if it has, let's say, 900 million or 800 million people, the number of people who can actually consume a GM car or a Volkswagen car or a foreign-made car is very small. It's very small. A Chinese told me, he said, I mean, that person assumed that China has 1.4 billion people. And he said, of the 1.4 billion, 1.3 billion are poor. There's only 100 million Chinese who were able to afford, a relatively good living standard. And even that 100 million now is dwindling, is diminishing. It's probably 50 million. It's cutting half because it's getting smaller and smaller as the economy deteriorates. So the assumption that China's consumer market is huge, it's invalid at this point. It's invalid. There aren't that many people in the first place, and even if they do, the number of people who can afford your product is very small. And the group is shrinking. So I hope Western companies understand that. Okay. Peter, we look forward to your being able to do this live video out of China. Yes. Please do. Yeah, some Volkswagen pull out of Xinjiang. Good for them. They should have done that a while ago. Mark Pola, European auto companies all get their most revenue from the Chinese market source. I work for one of these auto companies. If you ever want to discuss global auto. Okay. But that was then, not anymore. It's like the same, like the luxury brands like Dior, Louis Vuitton, LVMH. I mean, they have the Chinese. On one hand, you do make a lot of money. But on the other hand, I think the consumption, the unleveled consumption in China for these luxury brands also kill the brands because they become mass market brands. They lose the prestige. I mean, who still wants to have an LV bag in nowadays? Because every Chinese woman or every other Chinese woman has one, right? So it defeats the purpose. You want to get it's unthinkable that these luxury brands want to go to China because the idea of luxury is rarity. So why are you interested in mass market in China when you're selling $5,000 bags? You know, it's counterproductive. And I think to some extent they have destroyed their brands because people are not interested in an LV bag, in Dior. I mean, all of these bags are designed more for show off. And I don't know. I think it's suicidal. The fact that they went into China, they heavily relied on Chinese market, is a suicidal act for these brands. They lose the brand prestige. So anyways, that's just my thought. Okay. Texas Panda, if you could do your show from China, I would like to be the first guest you interview and show you the China I know. Okay, all right. Okay, do you have an idea where you think I should do the show from? Beijing or Shanghai? Texas Pen, I'm willing to fly to China for this and introduce you to my friends. Okay, we'll do maybe that is the plan. Live stream from Lei and her fans doing a live stream from Beijing or from Shanghai. Okay, all right, that's all for tonight. I wish you a great weekend. And I'll see you next week. Oh, somebody said Chengdu. Oh, the food is too spicy for me. I love Shanghai because that's where I'm from. Okay, we'll discuss where we'll do that from. I'm thinking Shanghai, but more symbolically, we probably should do it from Beijing. Okay, all right. Well, thank you very much. We'll give it some thought and keep that as our discussion topic for the next time or for future times. Where should Lei do her first live stream from China? Yeah, that's a good idea. Scipio Africanus. Well, thank you. Scipio, not Scorpio. Scipio. Well, thank you. Thank you. All right, bye.